I'm going to do a quick demo of Keymark's SmartBuild systems. This is a 3D design software for post-frame construction, and this is a web-based product. So I'm logged into my site. I can either edit jobs that I've worked on in the past, I can start a new job from scratch, I can upload a model from SketchUp, or I can pick a starting model. Starting models are pre-designed structures. These can be whatever you want. Once you get them set up the way you want, you save them as a starting model. They show up here. When I click on this, it would take me into this model. I could make any changes I wanted. And when I save it, it shows up as a regular job. But I still have this original starting model that I could access again the next time for a different job and make some slightly different changes. So these are really like templates, and you can set these up in a lot of different ways to help save time. I'm going to start a model from scratch. So it starts with a very simple model. Start making changes. Just come over here. Let's do a 30 by 40. We'll do a 16-foot high ceiling. As you can see, when I hit enter here, this model is updating in real time. So we have multiple different roof options. It's an asymmetric gable. You can adjust the slopes. Similar for gambrel, western, offset gables. So once you get these dialed in, hit apply. It'll apply those changes to the model. I'm going to put this back to a regular gable for this demo. So look at the foundations real quick. You can either do a hole in the ground or you can do a stem wall. For the post hole, the depth is how deep this hole is from grade. So we have it at 3 feet right now. Post offset is the offset of the bottom of the post from the bottom of the hole. So we have 0, so that means these posts are going all the way down to the bottom depth that we designated. We could, for example, make this 4 inches. That's going to pull the post 4 inches off the bottom of the hole. We can also make this 4 feet. So that's going to raise this 1 foot above. For something like a permacolumn situation, you can raise that up so the bottom of the post here is actually starting 1 foot above grade. So you can dial in your post lengths that way. You can also dial in your materials for each post and each post hole. You can predefine these materials. You can define which ones show up here, and you can select those products, and then those will show up on the material list for this job. So you can dial in your post lengths and your materials for the foundation that way. Look at some of the options that we can do to this main building. We can put in additional buildings on here. Let's do a gable across this back wall. So it's going to start 2 foot from the left of this back wall, make it 26 feet, and we'll have it come out 30 foot. Let's do a little shorter ceiling than our main building. We click add, and then we click on this wall. It's going to start 2 feet this way, it's going to go across 26 length, and it's going to come out 30 feet this way with a 12-foot high ceiling. So as I click here, it shows up, and we can keep going with these buildings if we like. So let's do the same building but change it to 24. Click on this one. So this one is inline. Well, here's our 2 foot start distance. So we could keep going with these. You can do as many of those as you like. I'm going to get rid of this for now. So just select that and delete it. You can also do sheds. Let's do a shed on the side here. Keep these the same. We don't need this to be so long. The ceiling height, make sure we get below our eave. Add this to the side of the building. So there's a shed. And another option that we have here, we select this and click open shared wall. And so now it has opened up that wall between these two buildings. We unclick that. You can see it close that back up. So we have that option as well. And we can do wraparound porches. If we add another shed here, let's do this one all the way across. Keep these the same. Add that here. Now, if we do another shed that starts at 0 here, and we're going to shorten the length of this one, add this on the back building, then we get a wraparound. Now I made that too long, so if we edit this, we don't need that to be quite so long this way. Change that. Maybe a little short now, but you get the idea. We can get a wraparound porch. We can toggle these. We can add cupolas to these buildings. So you can have different types of cupolas, whatever you use. These can be specified as part of your materials. So let's do 2 across this building. A couple cupolas. And we can, let's add 1 on this building. So we can get cupolas in there, and you can dial in the locations using different starting locations with offsets and the spacing. Let's get some doors and windows in here. So let's start with this 4082 door. Got to get into our shed somehow. Add that. So for these, you can add object files to the openings, so you can get some realistic looking doors, and these can be customized to whatever products you actually use, what doors and windows you use. Let's do this 12 by 14. I have an object file for this one as well. Put it in here, big overhead door. And we can add some windows. Let's put one over here. Put one over here. So you can put windows wherever you want. And you can dial in these locations. You can just select them once you have them in and move them around. You can also specify distances from different starting points to get these exactly where you want them. You can push them up against the posts. You can raise up the header height so you can get them anywhere. We could put them up above other buildings, so you can get these wherever you want. Look at the finishes now. So we can adjust the colors here. Let's maybe do our wall colors as rustic red. Update the model. Do your trim as white. We can add wainscot. 3 feet up, we could adjust that length. So we can change these colors. You can select different sheathing products. These can be defined as part of your material list, and then you can select whatever products you use. Same with the rest of the trim. With these different conditions, you can define your own trim products and define how you like to do that, and then you can change the products and change up the trim the way that you want it. Similar for framing. So as this is happening, this is doing real-time framing and trim updates. So framing, similar concept. You can define the materials that you use for these different conditions. You can define spacing, and we can change the spacing here. Change this to 4 feet. See that it updated our truss spacing. We're using a double truss carrier. We call it truss carrier. So it allows the posts to be different spacing than the trusses. define your purlin products, different ways that you do purlins. If you do those flush, you can change those here. You see now it updated so that these fell below, even with the top chord of the truss. You can change your post spacing for different walls, use different post products, different header products, your girts, girt spacing, skirt board. We do a stacked girt board, so that shows up all across the model. So you can dial in your framing this way. So as we're doing all this, it's in real time updating material lists. So here's the materials for this job. This is all the framing products. You can see it gives you quantities and lengths, and these are based on the lengths of the materials that I have in my material database. So I have 16-foot long 2x6, and you can see it's broken down with exact cut lengths for the wall and the usage. These are all end studs, and these have all been consolidated into these 14, 16-foot long 2x6. So it does that for all these different products. And I have my foundation stuff showing up here, so you can see that foundation materials, 54 of each of these came in my framing material list. You can do that differently if you like. Same with sheathing. We get exact cut lengths. So we have 2 of these. Same with trim. Different pieces of trim for these different conditions. One thing that it does do as well is consolidate some of these. If you have shorter pieces, it'll pick based on what's in your material list, your inventory. It'll consolidate these different pieces into a 20-foot length, and it gives you the waist for that. You can dial those in. So doors and windows, accessories, cupolas are showing up here, and a truss tab. You can also add items from your catalog, so we could come in here, we could pick anything that we have in our material catalog and add those to this job. We also have calculations that you can use, so you can define things based on square footage of wall sheathing per each truss or per post. So we have different data coming from the model, this actual job, that you can pick a product from your material list and apply those based on that data. I also have some drawings. So assembly drawings are really the framing drawings. So here's the different pieces going into this roof, different walls. For the sheathing, we have these for the roof panels and for the walls. So these are exact cut lengths. And one feature we have is some advanced edits. So everything that I did before was applying to the entire model. You can come into individual walls. For example, here's our shed wall, our open porch shed, and maybe we want to do some different spacing on this. So this one is a shed wall, so we could do wider spacing here. So that opened that up. We could use a different material going across the top here, and this is actually truss carrier material, so we'll do 2x12 in this case. So that updated 2x12, and once we've made those changes, we come back to the 3D model. You can see that for this particular wall we have this greater spacing. This is a 2x12 as opposed to this wall, which we're still using this 2x8, I guess 2x10. So you can make changes to individual walls to the framing, different types of framing. You can also change the finishes, you can change colors, different products, and you can make changes to foundations. Say, for this wall we need to go a little bit deeper, so we'll do a 5-foot depth for this hole, and you can see that updates the model. These holes are a little bit deeper than the rest. So once we've completed our job, got it the way we want, we can save this, we can do a delivery address. You can make different fields required, and you can customize these fields. So we have different things here. Save this job. So that job has showed up back on my list, back at my dashboard. So some additional features, as I alluded to earlier, you can define your material list, you can define the pricing, door and window list, you can customize your colors, and you can customize framing rules, different ways that you do headers, different products that you want for different conditions. I'm not going to get into those right now. That's going to be in a separate demo. Here's where you create these starting models. So one additional area are outputs. So we have several different outputs with DXF files that you can output. You could pull into a CAD program and do some dimensions, for example. You can also download the material list. This is going to be all the materials in this job with categories and usage and the pricing. You can adjust the pricing. So this gives you an Excel file, do all the kinds of things that you do in Excel. Thank you for watching this demo of Keymark SmartBuild Systems, complete 3D design for post-frame structures.